Let me get our recording going. All right, so we are going to start seated, and for the first couple of minutes, you can choose whatever leg action you want, crossing, stacking, whatever your legs want to do. And find a nice long spine, but you don't have to grip through all the muscles to make it your tallest and perkiest. You can also enjoy a little softness in your seat. So if you're like me and the first thing that tenses up when you're in a seat trying to sit up tall, you get that back arch and then your belly tenses and you don't let it relax, then take a minute to do a little scan. Notice if anything is a little on the tense side and soften even in your nice tall position here. Maybe that feels like breathing a little into the shoulders, letting them drop down. And while you're sitting with your breath for a couple of moments, you might want to place your palms anywhere along the body to bring a little bit more awareness to maybe low ribs, side ribs, shoulders, wherever you feel like you might want to breathe a little bit more into. My go-to, if you can't think of somewhere to put your hands, is usually my bottom ribs. And I like to notice if I'm breathing outward, as if I'm trying to push my ribs into my palms, into my fingers. Usually pretty good with my breath, letting the chest rise and letting the back body expand, but then I forget about the low ribs. So you might be putting your hands in a different position or a different place, or they might just be at rest in your lap. And if your palms have found their way to somewhere in your rib cage, you can drop them down. And we're going to give a little love to the shoulders and a little bit of the neck today. So you're going to take your right hand and you're going to reach it not only to your side, but a little bit behind you. And then you're going to point your fingers as much as you can behind you. So you're rotating your shoulder outward externally. And your fingers are going to work their way towards your forearm. So the wrist is going to be flexed a little bit. So you're not pointing directly down at the ground. You're kind of flexing the wrist a little. So your palm is trying to face down towards the floor. And maybe you're also trying to high five the floor so you can get a little depression of your shoulder. And then you can take that left ear towards your left shoulder. As you still remain reaching a little back behind you, keep that shoulder rotated out. Option to bring hand to the top of the head to add a little weight. Doesn't have to necessarily pull, but it can just add a little extra weight. You'll bring that head back to center. And then you'll let that extended arm come back forward. Check in to see if maybe that shoulder feels a little bit more open, just that little bit of work we did. And then same for our second side. So the hand is going to reach to our sides and then a little back behind you. And then fingers are going to rotate so they're pointing as much as they can behind you. That brings some rotation outward to the shoulder. Fingers are going to point as much as you can upwards. So we're flexing the palm. And if you're going to high five the floor, try to depress the shoulder down a little bit. These can be subtle moves so that you feel it in your shoulder. You might need a grander move to feel it, but you'll sense it in one place or another. You'll drop the right ear towards the right shoulder. Get a little side neck stretch in there too. Option to bring the hand in if you want. That's just a little weight. It can pull if you want, but I just like the weight component of it. You'll work the head a little gently back to center. And then you'll let the arm come around. And maybe just give a free open shoulder movement where you roll them back behind you. So they're rolling back. Palms can be anywhere. They just need to feel like, oh, I'm rolling my shoulders back and open. And then you'll let it go. All right, you're gonna kickstand one leg. So right leg, my right knee is bent, and I put my right foot on the floor. My left leg is kind of in towards me. And we're gonna go for 3 sit-ups, if you will. Like we're trying to sit up with our body. So palms are gonna help you. They're gonna come to the left knee that's bent on the ground. And you're gonna shift the weight forward and you're gonna start to get a little momentum, like you wanna rock and roll over that knee. And you'll do it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, kind of depending on your pace. But each time you're gonna come up maybe a little bit more towards that knee. And maybe your palms are really helping you a lot to do this. Maybe they're just helping you a little bit. And then you're actually going to come up onto that knee. So however you need to get there, if it's got a lot of momentum behind it to get you up and over, but you're going to come onto that knee and you're going to come up. Nice. And then we're going to take that to the second side. So drop it down, take your time. If you're loud and plunky, that's okay. You're going to switch however you can switch. And we're going to play into that second side. So you shift yourself towards that front bent knee, get a little rock going. It might be just 3 goes, 4 or 5. We're going to come up to that knee again. So if you need extra momentum, if you need to use hands to floor to push you up, however you get there, you come up. Hey, you made it. You're going to come slow back down. And then switch. If you didn't switch with a lift of the legs and a switch, maybe you try that, maybe you don't. It's up to you. Either way, you're coming to that second side. We're going to build now from that knee, and then we're going to come up to a stand and back down. So give it like 2 or 3 goes where you come up to that knee. If you want the extra challenge, then try to take that slow roll up. Don't use hands or use hands. It doesn't matter. You're getting there, right? You're eventually coming onto that knee and you sort of have a wide stance right now. You're going to bring that knee forward like you're in a low lunge. And from this low lunge, we're going to work our way to a stand. So we're really playing today with balance and trying to get momentum from a seat to a stand. So you build your momentum as you want. It could be I'm shifting forward, I'm using a lot of my weight to come over that standing leg, I'm pushing with my back foot, I'm using my hand to my knee. These are all options as you come forward and back a couple times. And you're already starting to get that kind of sensation like, oh, I want to stand up. So you're going to stand up and you decide, am I going to use hand to knee? Am I going to really ground through the floor? Am I going to find freedom with that back leg? It doesn't matter how you get to stand. You get there. Nice. And then we got to come back down to the floor. So you're going to take that left leg back. You can lower down, hands free or hand to knee maybe, if that suits you. Then you get a little wide stance. Your back knee might kind of kickstand in a little, and then you come to your seat for reversing. And you're on your bottom. So you can slide leg switch, or if you want to look some challenge, you can always plant fingers, palms, free the legs, and then switch. A little tricky, but just gives your body a little rocking kind of fun momentum for a sec. And then you're going to go across to the other leg. So over the right leg, you get 2 or 3 rocks, a little momentum to make it more challenging, or a lot of bit of momentum if you just need a little help. Coming onto that knee. And then your free open leg's gonna come forward to find you into a low lunge. And when you get to that low lunge, you're gonna build up to that stand. So shift forward, start to get a little bit more weight into that front leg. And it's your balance, it's your momentum. How much do you want to throw into it? Or do you want to make this standing motion really challenging? Put all your weight in that standing leg, push up, and we're up. But guess what? We have to come back down. So you're going to reverse. You put that leg back behind you, drop it down, come to your seat. When you're 90, you'll thank me. All right. So we're going to come to stand for real this time. So if one of the sides felt extra challenging for you, try that. If you want to just come to a stand, just come to a stand. It's totally fine. I'm going to go with my right leg because that one is just tuftsies for me. Or you can just come up to a stand, but that more challenging side, we'll just give it one more little go to get there. All right, so you're up on a standing position now. And since I'm not seated anymore, I'll adjust my camera here. All right, so from your stance, you're gonna find balance into your right foot, and you're gonna do a little wild thing, step back to a high lunge. So shift your weight into your right. You can imagine you're hanging onto a pole, or you can imagine that you've got a chair by you, or you might actually have a chair. So wild thing meaning you kind of just get a bounce with that left leg in some way. And take your time with this. You don't have to rush it back and fling it there. Just toy a little with opening the leg up, maybe. Letting it kind of find its way in a really novel position. Instead of this linear, like step directly back behind you, high lunge. But you eventually get there. All right, so from your high lunge, you're gonna open up into your warrior. And you're gonna take your arms, this is where it gets fun for direction-wise, and you're gonna sort of swim them in what I call cow face arms. So top arm sweeps behind the head, back arm sweeps behind the back. And then you switch. I feel like this was a dance move at some point, right? Oh no, that's Vogue I'm thinking of, Madonna's Vogue. You're just gonna sort of swim the arms. Just to get them moving, we're rotating them again. Trying to get the shoulders to go in, trying to get the shoulders to rotate out. And then the next time that your back hand comes to your back, to your low back, so that's your long-legged arm, so it's left behind you, and then your right hand can either stay right behind your head as you come down to side angle, or it can come to the knee for support. If you like to drop the hand down for side angle, that's also an option. But either way, maybe you just give it a little go like, that's my limit. Okay, I need to free up my hand for some help. Push down into the feet. Let the core support you through your torso, through your hips. Nice. And we're going to come up from our leaning forward, and you can release the arms. And you're going to turn so your left hand, the one that's on your back side with your long leg, it's going to reach for the floor. So you're going to get your body to reach down like you want to pick something up. And whether you actually touch the floor or not is not the point. We're working on bounce. We're working on imagining that we're in different positions to reach for something. Maybe you reach directly forward. Maybe you reach towards your center. Maybe you reach far in front of you. Maybe you reach closer to your body. Getting some twist on, getting some leg work on. Nice. And then if one of those positions felt like you could actually touch the floor, maybe you spend this last one going down and touching the floor lightly, or using the whole floor for support, and then bringing yourself up nice and slow. Nice. All right, we're gonna come forward to our high lunge again. So just a little shift of the legs and the hips. And then you choose your way back. So some people like to reverse exactly the way it came in, where they take that balance, they get that wiggle of the back leg on. Maybe today's the day that you just hang out in standing balance or splits. Or maybe you're like, wow, it's enough leg, I'm just here. Either way, we're all getting to the top of our mat at some point, right? We're going to join one another in the same position. I like the crazy wild leg that comes forward. Okay. Oh, same thing. Other side. So here we go. Left leg gets your support on, it's your standing leg. The right one gets the kickstand. Find something that's gonna pretend be your balance pole or actual chair, couch for your balance. And then you can start your wild step back on. So maybe you lift your knee, maybe you turn it in and out, maybe you make it wiggle. But eventually we're all kind of coming to this high lunge business. So just take your time. Challenge yourself how you need to. And then once you're in your high lunge, you open up to your warrior. Find what feels like a good base, and then same with those swimming arms. So your top arm, as it comes around, comes to the back of the head, and then your bottom arm, thumbs down, it tucks behind you, and then you switch. So you get a little yogi vogue, maybe. I feel like they do this in chorus lines, but they're all staggered, and it looks like swimming arms. Your faces are like, what, Valerie? Just keep moving. All right. The next time that your back arm comes to the back of your low back or hip kind of area, this is where you get to decide, do you want to keep that upper hand at the back of your head and lean forward? It's always nice to just try, right? Just be like, okay, I can go about this far. You can always drop that hand out at any time for extra support, hand to knee. If you need more action, you can come closer to the ground. For the millionth time, I remind you, it's your practice. Maybe today's the day you need a little more support, hand to knee. Maybe you'd rather stay upright. All right, we're coming back upright wherever you're at. You get to unwind the arms. And then you get to turn your toes forward again to that high lunge. And then out the way you came. Get some fun little balance on. Oh, I forgot. Oh. Open back up. All right. You're going to do those reaches that we did on the first side. All right. So reach down towards the floor. Remember, the goal is not to touch the floor. The goal is to try to realize, oh, my body has to shift in so many amazing ways just so I stay upright while I twist, while I lean, while I reach. Closer to the body, further away from the body, high or low. And if one of those spots felt like you could put your arm down or come really close to palm down, find that spot. Maybe you get a little extra low this time. And then you push up nice and slow. Yeah. Okay, now we can turn forward and take our balance. almost missed that. All right, so facing forward, you find your path. Same as the other side or different? Oh, buddy, we're there. Bonus points if you wobbled to death and almost fell over. All right, so from a stand, when you were coming down to a lower from standing before, did one side feel more challenging than the other? Like, oh, definitely, was this leg, I had a hot mess trying to get down. Maybe choose that path. You can always choose the other path, which one might be a little easier. So I'm going with the left leg forward for me. And I'm gonna come down to my knee. And then I'm gonna find my leg coming out to the side a little. And then my back leg kind of kicks in towards the center of my body. And I come onto the bottom. Close enough. We all made it, right? All right. So from your seat, you're going to come onto your tabletop and then belly. We're going straight there. So tabletop, then belly. So just roll over and then lower down. And you're going to come onto the belly for a couple of moments. I'm going to stay upright. But once you're on your belly, we're going to do a little fun work. So belly's down. We're going to take those kind of cactusy arms that we did where we were like kind of swimming, and you're going to do one at a time. So maybe the left arm is the one that just kind of stays at your side and relaxed. And then your right arm face down, kind of tries to touch the top of your head, rotates, tries to top the back of your head. And you're kind of just swimming on your belly. Yeah. And you're just getting some extra rotation in for your shoulders. If one spot feels a little sticky, you can always pause and hold. I've got one spot that I like to just kind of hang out in for a moment. Nice. You're gonna switch. So soften that arm, let it fall to your side, and then the other arm's gonna do that swing motion where it comes to the back of the head, and it's gotta really rotate internally. And you gotta reach a little back behind you, see if you can tuck that hand behind your low back. It's a lot different in this plane. You're not upright. You gotta lift the weight of your arm in a different way. Nice work. And then you can soften the arms. And we did this last week where we did these little locust lifts where I gave you a lot of freedom of choice to, if you want to just lift the upper chest and head off the floor, you can use support of hands in front of you or at your sides. Some people just reach the arms straight overhead and kind of swim them a little bit. You can always literally swim them like forward and back. Some people were playing with their legs as well. They were kicking them like they were swimming. Giving you some time to do you for a couple of moments, a couple of movements. Serving up what your body needs. More shoulder, more legs, some extra back extension. Nice. And we'll just play for another moment or two. You're either wiggling arms, legs, maybe you're doing both. But eventually you're going to come back to your stillness, and you're going to bring your left arm to that cactus-like position on the floor or goalpost, and then your right hand is going to be palm facing down, elbow up. So it's bent. Yeah, it's going to be your kickstand to kind of roll over and push a little bit. So left arm is the one that's at your side, so your left cheek is going to be on the floor, and you're going to use your right hand to kind of push you into what might feel like a little roll over. Considering your arms in a cactus, you probably won't be able to like roll completely over. Sometimes we do this with a long arm, a straight arm, and you have a little bit more freedom, but with your arm in this bent position, you'll have less freedom to roll over. So and then we'll come to our second side. So you'll roll back onto the belly. And now your left palm comes to the mat, and it's the one that pushes you. Your right hand comes to that cactus-like position or goalpost position. Your right cheek comes to the mat. And your left palm is the one that helps push you over so that you can stack a little bit. Left hip over right. It could be just a little bit of a twist action. If you've got a fairly open front chest, you might be able to roll over a little more. Nice. You'll slowly roll back onto the belly. And then you'll roll onto your backside. So hopefully you don't have to set up and flop around. Just roll on over. Some people like to switch their whole orientation and now their head's where their feet were, etc. But just come onto your back however you want to. I like when I'm already down on the floor, I kind of stay there. So, all right, so you're on your backside and you're thinking, but Valerie, I didn't get an outer hip stretch, or I didn't get a bridge pose, or I didn't get a happy baby. So those are some options for you right now. If you feel like you need a little bit more extension for the hips and the back, bridge pose might be nice. Or you bend your knees, push into the feet and come up like you're the little bridge. If you need twisting, you can always drop knees side to side like windshield wipers, or let them stay on one side or the other for a more stationary twist. Some people like the figure 4 of the legs, where one ankle crosses over the knee. But enough of me giving you choices, because you can always choose something that I didn't queue up. These are often some of the most poignant moments of your practice where you don't have to follow directions from someone else, just your own. And we're here for another minute or so, so continue to play. Continue to take those light body scans. And then you're going to find your way into a little bit of stillness. For those of you that are going to be continuing on, you're welcome to keep moving and shifting and playing. But for those of you who are winding down and coming to what is your final rest for the evening, you might take a moment to sigh. You might take a extra deep inhale and then let it go. And I hope that finding some time to wiggle, to activate the muscles, to move in the body, helps to settle a bit more, not only your physical body, but your brain. Maybe your brain's a little quieter now. Maybe it's a bit easier for you to draw in, to focus on just yourself, explore what's going on in there. Not just the good feels, but if something else is floating around, take a look at that too. For my first friends, I thank you all for continuing to share your practice with me every week and honoring me with your presence, our little yoga community here. And I wish you a wonderful rest of your evening.